Kia ora. Hey, lovely to have you here. I hope you've had a fantastic day and are ready for another chapter in our Big Kids Bedtime Story series. It was a couple of days ago when we had our last chapter of Freakout Island by Justin Christopher. Have you had a chance to whip across and like his Facebook and Instagram pages? You find him as Justin Christopher Author. He's an author of several awesome kids books and also some books for big kids. So go and check him out. justinbrown.com is the best way to find out about all those other books. Okay, did I sing It's Our Time? I better do that, hadn't I? It's our time, kia ora, talofa. It's our time, a special time of day. It's our time, just you and me together. It's time to say hello, g'day, kei te pia koe. How are you, my friend? Good, I hope, and all set ready for a chapter because we're up to chapter 11. Now, if you've missed any of the other chapters, they are, of course, on my YouTube channel, all of the chapters there. You might even find them on Instagram, and if you go down through the feed on Facebook, you'll find them there as well. But let's have a look here and see who the characters are. This guy here is Leo, the star of the show. He is a bubblegum chewer. Eden enjoys the 5-finger discount. She likes taking things that aren't actually hers. So when the kids have happy hour and they drink the purple juice on Friendly Island, her hands get covered in super glue. This guy here, Felix, you can see what he's doing, can't you? Or can you? Let me see. He's picking his nose. You might be able to see that he's picked his brain right out of his head and is now carrying it around. Gross. This guy here is Ricky. Now, Ricky is rather rude and obnoxious, and he uses a lot of swear words. So when he drinks the purple juice in happy hour, he becomes a squawking parrot. And Harriet. Harriet is quite demanding. She's a spoilt wee thing who likes to chew her hair. So during happy hour, her hair becomes a bird's nest, complete with birds. Right. Now, the last happy hour, the kids found themselves taken to the jungle, where Felix, carting his brain around, decided to play brain ball, which is a little bit like soccer, just with your brain. And of course, he can't remember anything after happy hour finishes, so he's oblivious to it all. Generally, he likes to get down just to his ungadungas and play that way. So they were in the jungle. They were playing brain ball with a pack of howler monkeys, and it was all going really well until old Eden, with the super glue on her hands, picks up a baby howler monkey that was hurt. And that would have been fine. She would have been stuck with the howler monkey baby for quite some time. But the unfortunate thing is, with super glue, you can't put it down. And with a mummy howler monkey coming towards you, things go a little bit wrong. In fact, it looked like it was going to go very, very wrong because the howler monkey mummy was joined by the pack of howler monkeys. And they wanted that baby back. Luckily, Leo, Mr. Bubblegum, he likes to, well, he's got an amazing brain and he remembers things incredibly well. And he remembered a way of communicating with monkeys. And he gave it a go. He stepped in front of Eden and the baby, between the baby and the mummy howler monkey. He opened his palms out and he made his mouth into an O shape, like that. And what happened was, the monkey followed suit. She calmed down, she relaxed, and everything stopped. The bubble out the back of Leo's bottom popped, and it just changed happy hour. Everything went back to normal. So that means Eden was able to let go of the baby. Felix's brain returned to his head. Ricky stopped squawking, and the bird's nest changed back to Harriet's lovely hair. They then made their way back to the super secret hut that they stay in while they're on Friendly Island. Okay, so that was a rather in-depth catch-up, but it was a couple of days since our last chapter. And now, if you're all nice and comfy, Snuggle down, ready for a story? We can begin. Chapter 11. At dinner, Leo felt proud, but also helpless. What was happening to everyone? He wondered how he could have been so excited on the first day, yet now had to think of ways to stop vicious monkeys attacking his friends. Who were Vain and Vulgar, the owners of Friendly Island? Was it possible they were out to get the children? But why? Leo relaxed a little when he began to think about his mum and dad and dog, Peace and Quiet. He especially missed how his friendly little dog jumped onto his bed when he wasn't allowed. But as soon as he thought about seeing Jono and Yang, his best friends again, another worry popped into his head. Did his mum and dad even know where he was? And what lies had Margot fed them? With full tummies, the children headed back to the super secret hut for some well-earned sleep. Felix and Leo walked together and watched a tiny, bright red and green gecko race between their feet. In the distance, howler monkeys could be heard hollering. "Don't you think it's kind of weird?" Felix asked. Let me see." "Yes," said Felix. Said Leo. "Sometimes I can't believe the things that are actually happening. It's like a dream or a movie or a nightmare." "Can I ask you something?" Felix asked, and the boys stopped and faced each other. "Anything," said Leo. "The happy hour that everyone was talking about at dinner, I can't remember anything about it. Did I? I didn't do anything stupid, did I? Or say anything stupid? Or embarrass myself?" Leo replied, then bit his lip so hard it actually hurt. "No, you were good. Fine. Because you would tell me, wouldn't you?" "I would," replied Leo. But he wouldn't meet his friend's eyes. And that's chapter 11. So, tons of time for chapter 12. You ready? Here we go. At the beginning of their stay, the children had been told that under no circumstances were they to leave the super secret hut at night. But a few hours after dinner, when the others were sound asleep, Leo heard murmurs nearby. His shoulders tensed and his heart thumped wildly. The voice was Vane's. He was sure of it. But why did he keep calling, "Daisy, Daisy"? Leo wriggled around in his bed, itching and aching for sleep. But brain soccer and howler monkeys kept replaying in his mind. He switched on his nightlight. There was nothing to do, so he opened the drawer beside the bed where he found a brochure on Friendly Island. On the front cover were 3 children his own age, laughing and licking an ice cream on Barefoot Beach. They looked like they were having the time of their lives. Did those children licking their ice creams know about happy hour? Or about girls with glue for hands? Or boys who could only squawk like parrots? Leo flung off his bed covers and swung his feet around to touch the floor. No one else was awake. He crept to the front door and lifted the latch. The cool night breeze washed over his face. The creaky door closed, and he checked that it hadn't locked behind him. It was fine. Feeling the squelch of the jungle floor beneath his bare feet, he realized he'd forgotten to put on his shoes. After going a few steps further, he panicked. Snakes! Tigers! What was he doing? He imagined himself in a hospital ward, his body half eaten by a tiger, while his mum and dad stood over him, fearful they might lose their only child. Yet, here he was, making the brave decision to keep walking. Something cracked. Something creaked. An animal howled, and another shrieked. Lizards scuttled across the path in front of Leo, and the wind blew through the trees like a deathly whisper. Soon, Leo spied a light. He heard voices and crept over so slowly in that direction. He arrived at a courtyard behind Meconium House. Through a tiny crack in the fence, he spotted 2 figures in front of a small crowd. He looked harder. It was Vain and Vulgar, both holding clipboards and pens. In front of them sat dozens of Friendly Island workers dressed in yellow tracksuits. "What are you doing here?" asked a voice. Leo spun round as quick as a fox, with no clue as to who or what he might find. He squinted his eyes in the darkness and made out a figure. It was a person. Working that out was a good start, though of course it was a person because snakes and tigers didn't speak. But Leo's mind was in such a fuzz that he figured anything was possible on this crazy island. His eyes had adjusted now. The figure had long hair, a slim body, and he could smell vanilla. It was Angela. I said, "What are you doing here?" she repeated. "What are you doing here?" Leo replied. "I'm on my break. My bosses have just finished a boring speech about how we all have to work harder and make Friendly Island a friendlier place. Otherwise we won't get paid. I hate this job." "So what about you, you intrepid traveller? Do you normally walk around a jungle at night with snakes and spiders?" Leo shrugged. "I just, I heard some strange things and I couldn't sleep. I was kind of worried." "You miss home?" "Yep." "I'm not surprised. This is a strange place, right?" "Yep," Leo replied, thankful it was so dark because a tear was now running down his face. There was an awkward silence as Angela shuffled forward. "Leo," she said, "there's something I need to tell you." Oh my, thought Leo. She really does want to play Midnight Raider with me. My favourite game. "I haven't been entirely truthful," she said. "About what?" Leo asked, feeling as if a tennis ball was lodged in his throat. "About Friendly Island," replied Angela. "Break is over! Return now!" came a thunderous voice, instantly killing the peacefulness of the jungle. It was Vane. But this wasn't friendly Vane. This was ferocious Vane. "Oh no," Angela said, her hand coming to rest on Leo's shoulder. "If I don't go now, I'll be in huge trouble." She sprang into the air and scrubbed the dirt from her knees. "Meet me here this time tomorrow night. Deal?" "Deal," Leo replied. They shook on it. "Later," Angela told him, and disappeared into the dark. Instead of heading back to the super-secret hut, Leo tiptoed along Angela's path, coming to a stop just metres away from the courtyard beside Meconium House. His heart was thumping and his breath quickened. Something was prowling along the other side of the fence just inches from where he sat. Out of nowhere, a long, slithering snake poked its head through the fence and flicked at his nose. But this was no snake, because when it wriggled back through a gap in the fence, Leo spied something so terrifying that when he tried to scream, nothing came out. Through a tiny gap in the fence, he saw a gigantic lizard, as long as a fully grown human being. This creature looked so solid as a stone wall, with menacing eyes and scales that looked as tough as a knight's armour. It gave the impression it could survive anything, as if it had already lived on the island for thousands of years. "Daisy, darling," said Vane, who was now also next to the fence. "Come over here," and Leo saw Vane pull the lizard along on a chain before shoving it into a cage. Leo tried to move, but his feet seemed glued to the ground. He felt like crying, but he held back the tears. "Keep running," he said to himself. Just 50 steps took him safely back to the super-secret hut. Exhaustion overtook him, and he was fast asleep within minutes. And that was chapter 12. But we've got time for another chapter, haven't we? We're only just getting started. Okay, chapter 13. Lucky for some, hopefully for the kids. "You missed the biggest breakfast feast ever," said Felix, munching on a chocolate croissant he'd brought with him. "The good food has returned, my friend." "It was all you can eat," said Ricky. "Double the bacon, triple the waffles." The children were at Barefoot Beach playing and swimming in the warm island sun. Leo wiped the sleep from his eyes and wriggled his toes into the smooth white sand. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" he asked. "We couldn't wake you," said Eden. "But won't I be in trouble for not coming to breakfast?" "We told them you had bubblegum diarrhea." "Did they believe you?" Leo asked. "Oh, yes, of course. I'm very convincing," said Harriet. Guys, I've got to tell you something, Leo said, with both fear and excitement in his voice. That giant lizard Vane and Volga talked about isn't like a gecko. It's a Komodo dragon. I'm sure of it. I saw it with my own eyes. Eden looked up from her meal. What's a Komodo dragon, Eden, Leo replied. It's one of the world's most dangerous animals. Its venom is deadly. It chases an animal, a deer or something, and it bites it, then lets it slowly die. And this is the worst part. The Komodo dragon doesn't even bother eating the animal straight away. It comes back later and chews it to pieces. Leo now had the attention of the whole group. When did you see this thing? Asked Felix. Last night, Leo replied. Like at midnight. We're not allowed to leave the hut, said Harriet. I heard Vane calling Daisy. That's the Komodo dragon's name, so I snuck out. You snuck out at night, said Eden, in the jungle? But that's crazy. That's what Angela said. Who's Angela? The girl from the plane? What plane? The Kaput 3000. Ooh, Leo's got a girlfriend, scoffed Harriet. Don't you guys want to get out of this hole? Leo's outburst surprised the group. Suddenly Vane and Volga arrived in their ramshackle vintage car with shoddy red curtains. Hello, friendly islanders, chirped Vane, getting out. Did you enjoy your all-you-can-eat breakfast? Who tried our infamous cogswoggle cocktail? I had 3 of them, said Eden. I had 4, burped Felix. I had 9, said Ricky. Taxi! Lovely, said Volga, and she placed some earmuffs on her head, then handed another pair to Vane, who did the same. Seconds later, dong, 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 dong. Dong, 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 dong. The poor children covered their ears, for this time the sound was so deafening it felt as if the island was shaking like jelly on a big man's belly. As it happened, Leo saw the most unbelievable thing. Harriet's nest was growing so big and so quickly she could barely stand. Ricky now had not only a beak, but also wings, and one foot had lost his shoe and grown a claw. Rock! Harriet quickly became a wonderful home for what seemed like every bird on the island. Parrots, seagulls, and even Gilbert, that's the Vane and Volga's parrot, chased her along barefoot beach. She wobbled her way down the sand, trying to protect herself from bird parents. What's up, everyone? It was Felix, once more in nothing but his Spider-Man underpants, and holding up a rotten fish the length of his arm. Meet my new wife, he said, and he kissed the fish on the lips, which would have been hysterically funny if the kids were brand new to the island, but sadly none of them were laughing anymore. Vane and Volga were, however. They sat in their car and sipped cranberry juice as if they had front row seats at the theatre. For a minute it looked as if Eden had escaped any trouble, but that was mostly because no one could find her. Where's Eden? Leo asked. What? Harriet asked, swatting birds away. I said, where's Eden? She went to the toilet, Harriet replied. That sent Leo running towards the bathrooms, followed closely by Felix. How he wished as he ran, that it was Ricky or Felix in there. That way he wouldn't have to knock on the door with a girl in there. But he had no choice. Eden, he asked. Eden, are you there? Get out, came a voice. Don't you dare come in. Don't you dare. You're stuck to the toilet, aren't you? Leo asked. I said, go away. I hate this place. When can we go home? Leo sighed and turned to Felix, who was holding up the dead fish again. Mrs. Fishy and I are going to have a baby, he said. That's very nice, Felix, said Leo. Congratulations from all of us. Loud sobs came from the bathroom, but Leo had an idea. He decided to make a run for it. What about the wedding? Felix yelled after him. You're my best man. Later, Leo replied, without so much as glancing around. Okay, 3 chapters. What do you reckon that's it for tonight? We need to have some more for tomorrow night, don't we? In fact, if we're lucky, we've got 2 more nights of story. But if you can't wait, go and download a copy of it right now on Amazon.com. And also you'll find a paperback version available on fishpond.co.nz. Okay, that one's going to take a little longer to arrive, but you'll get the ebook from Amazon straight away. Freakout Island, Justin Christopher. Remember, on Instagram and Facebook, Justin Christopher Author. And his website, justinbrownbooks.com. Oh my goodness, what is going to happen next? We'll just have to wait and see. And in the meantime, take a big stretch. Settle down into your bed, because it is the big kids' bedtime story after all. And I don't know about you, but I think I'm ready for bed. It's been a big day. Hey, take care of yourself, guys. Take care of those around you. Make sure you're connecting with those in your neighbourhood when you're out for a walk. Wave over the fence. Do all those sorts of things. And try and find the best things in the day. Hopefully, one of the best things is the story that we're reading. But what's the best thing you've eaten today? What's the best thing you've seen today? What's the best thing you've done? What's the best thing you've said to somebody or heard from somebody? Make a list if you want to. Make a gratitude sheet and add to it so each night that list gets bigger and bigger and bigger. A bit like what's happening with the purple juice in Freakout Island. And I will catch you tomorrow night for another chapter. See you later. It's time to say goodbye. See you later. I've really got to fly. See you later. It's time for us to end. See you later. Sleep well, my friend. Bye.